one should miss an opportunity of marrying a good man just because of past mistakes or even bad choices that man has made. Hello there, my name is Stanley Oji, and this is Family Connects, where we discuss real issues in real relationships involving real people. This is episode 14, by the way, and in the past 13 episodes, we've been considering the topic mature, single, and waiting. And basically, we've been looking at those anxieties, societal pressures, physical needs, and moral conflicts that single and ready Christian ladies, in particular, must deal with during the waiting period while protecting their Christian testimonies. And one of the things that came up in that discussion is this attitude, very common among Christian singles, all right, that getting married to a divorcee or somebody who is a widower is like a kind of compromise, okay? Actually, some look at it, as I said last episode, as almost equivalent to being a second wife. But, I don't know the logic behind that, but we try to look at some plausible reasons why that might be so. If you look at most women that even end up marrying never been married men, especially when they're in that age bracket, you will discover that a lot of those men, that is usually not their first relationship, even if the others did not end up at the altar. In any case, there are also quite a few men who, though they have never been married, they have extremely complicated dating and relationship histories, including having children outside wedlock. All right, so I don't know where we are going to then, all right, feature this man on the scale of marriageability, but this is my counsel. Everyone should be judged based on their overall personal merit and their current reality, because truth be told, people change, all right? And let's not judge people based on what happened in their past, especially when they are Christians. This is really important, all right? And no one should miss an opportunity, as I said last episode, of marrying a good man just because of past mistakes or even bad choices that man has made. Because let's face it, we've all made some. It's just that some of us, we are fortunate to not have those mistakes leave lasting scars on us, all right? But everybody, has fallen here and there, and God has been gracious. So speaking to the ladies in particular, have an open mind, be objective, all right? Because as I always say, love is not a feeling. Love is a decision, okay? So don't go all feeling. Love is a decision. So be very, very clear-headed, all right, as you take this, destiny-determining decisions. Let's flip this coin for a minute, okay, and consider single mothers and their marital prospects in a society such as ours. This, unfortunately, again, is a no-no for a lot of single men. And this is irrespective of whether this woman has been married before or she has never been married. Again, there are logical reasons for that, okay? But the thing is that even when the man is comfortable with the woman he has met, I'm talking about this woman who's a single mother who's had a child, maybe outside marriage, or she had the child in a marriage, but she has lost her spouse, okay? Even when the man is comfortable, is accepting of the woman he wants to marry, a lot of times there is the family, especially the extended family, to deal with. Now, these are realities, okay? And we must consider these realities and then make intelligent decisions of what we are going to do about these realities. How are we going to navigate a situation where you've fallen in love with a woman? She's everything you want. She checks most of your boxes. The only problem is that she has a child or even children. All right, what do you do? How do you deal with family? How do you deal with relatives and all of that? Okay. One thing I've noticed, and this is very practical, a lot of intending couples usually leave that piece of information out of the general discussions with the family, especially the extended family, because it's not it could just end things, all right, if you bring that up. So they just basically just carry on, have the discussions, have the wedding, and then later and this works particularly if this child was had outside a marriage, and especially if this child was had when the woman was still quite young, all right, maybe when she was in school or when she was in college and all of that. Okay, when that happens, again, in most cases, this child would have been absorbed into a family by older relatives, maybe even parents. The child has the surname of the family of the girl and basically functions as a sibling rather than a son or a daughter. All of that, okay, happens. And in these instances, okay, when parents or relatives take that child off the young woman, it sets her free to pursue her education, build a career, and get married subsequently, unencumbered by the burden of that past mistake. And I think that is the right thing. That is the right thing to do, because let me emphasize that a teenage or an unplanned pregnancy from a casual sexual relationship should never be allowed to define the future of any girl child. And I'm talking to parents in particular. These are unfortunate situations where sometimes they happen. If you have a teenage girl who was misled or was deceived into having some of these alliances, when she was young, do not let that ruin the child's future. Rise to the occasion, deal with the issue, and then still do whatever it takes to give that child, the opportunity to continue with her life and to attain her full potential. Because you see, there is this mindset, this assumption that one of the ways of dealing with that issue, indeed, it's a very common, I think it's just conventional wisdom, that when somebody puts a young lady in the family way, then that man has to get married to her. That's almost like looking at that marriage as compensation for the young lady and a kind of sanction for the man. But again, if this man is a much older man, this young lady is just at the beginning of her life, it ends up actually being the worst kind of punishment for this young lady. That people, made a baby together doesn't necessarily mean they should get married, because that can actually just, put paid to all their ambitions, all their visions, and, it can just, so if that happened, it has happened. I think the most important thing in that kind of situation, if the family have the wherewithal, is to look for a way to take care of that child, give the child all the opportunities, provide a home, provide parenting for the child, and give the child that opportunity while releasing the mother, all right, to pursue a life, a career, education, and just be the best that she can be, all right? The Bible says, let me get to Genesis chapter 2:18. The Bible says, now the Lord said, it is not good or beneficial, this is the Amplified Bible, for the man to be alone. I will make him a helper, one who balances him, a counterpart who is suitable and complementary for him. Okay, so from God's perspective, marriage is a very goal-oriented venture. Marriage is, there are feelings in marriage, there's romance in marriage, there's erotic love in marriage. But really, if you go back to the beginning, to the first time marriage was mentioned, God had a goal in mind, and this goal was about purpose. This goal was about destiny. All right, let's make him somebody, a counterpart, all right, that will be complementary. As I always tell us, a complement is something that when combined, all right, brings out the best, enhances and completes the other. So a counterpart in this, as the Amplified Bible puts it, when you bring the two persons together, they are supposed to help each other to become the best they can be. So that decision that because somebody got pregnant, they should then have to get married, except where the circumstances, of course, permits it, I don't think that is very smart. I think that actually could be, all right, a way of just destroying lives, basically the life of the person, the child that was conceived in that situation, the woman, especially if she's very young, and even the man, if it's just two young people that did that. We can always allow them, if they are too young people, let them go to school, let them get established, but to have a 19-year-old become a father and then have a 19, 18-year-old girl become a mother, that is a lot. And I think that the adults who are in that situation need to step in and, rescue the situation and manage it in love, so that these children can, because this may have happened when these people did not know the Lord. The Lord may have big plans for these people, because as I say, mistakes, stuff happens, all right? So let's not allow those things to become defining for the young people, especially the young ladies that are in our circle. I believe this has blessed you. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to take them. By the way, my name is Stanley Oji. I am the pastor of the Rest House Christian Center. Follow me online on all platforms. YouTube, look for Dr. Stanley Oji. Facebook, look for Stanley Oji. Instagram, look for Dr. Stanley Oji. And of course, on TikTok, I believe that will still be Dr. Stanley Oji. Ask any question, engage me. I'll be glad to interact with you. Till we do this again next episode, this is Dr. Stanley Oji signing out. God bless you.